this is Jessica for Art Journal Junction, and today we're going to be making an art journal page featuring some of the supplies from the Mixed Media Inspired box for 2020. So today I'm working in my large dilutions journal, and as you saw I had the dilutions glue stick and I did rub that directly onto the page, and now I'm taking the loose gold gilding flakes and individually picking up the flakes and placing them down on the area where I put the glue. Now gilding flakes are loose individual flakes of metallic sheen, as you can see here, and I didn't really want a very solid coverage, so I didn't put the glue down very thickly. I just did it sporadic. If you wanted to have more of a solid sheet of metallic, you would just put down more glue and then place those flakes down to cover it up completely. I didn't want that, so that's why you see here it's very rough. I'm going to let that dry for a minute, and now I'm going to put some paint down. Now here I have white paint and magenta paint from the Dina Wakley Media line, and I'm painting it on with my 4-inch flat paintbrush. Now I'm going for a very loose, I don't want this paint very blended, so some areas are going to see darker pink, some are lighter pink, and I'm just doing this very haphazardly to cover the background of my page. And I'm also going to go in different directions with my paintbrush, so not all the strokes are up and down. Some are going to be left and right. I'm trying to get a very abstract background going here. So you can see I'm just making some marks so that not all the paint is in the same direction. Some it's lighter, some it's darker. And now I'm going to set that aside and let it dry before I do the next layer. And I'm also going to put down some more gilding flakes, again with the exact same technique. Glue stick directly to the page, and then I'm just putting down the gilding flakes. And if you have excess gilding flakes, you can either use your finger to gently rub it away, or you could use a dry paintbrush also. Either one would work. And now I'm going in with some more white paint and blushing from Dina Wakley Media, and I'm doing that exact same technique. And what I'm trying to create is a very old world look where it seems like the layers of paint have been put over gold gilding and some of it's flaking off, but in a more of a modern interpretation of that. Now I'm going in with more white paint and Ocean, also from the Dina Wakley Media line. And now I'm being a little more selective with my brush strokes because I don't want to cover up what I already have, but I'm just creating more layers and more depth. Again, thinking in my head, what if this was an old building and layers and layers and layers of paint have been chipped off? This is what I think it would look like. So I'm just carefully going around and adding some little strips of blue in both directions, trying not to overly mix it so you can see the white paint, you can see the blue paint, you can see where they overlap. I'm having some go right onto the gilding flakes. So I'm incorporating those into the background instead of it just look like this gold field that's floating around. And I'm doing this very methodically because I want to control how this is going to look. I don't want to get too crazy with it. I'm also just going to add in a little bit of just plain white paint so that softens the blue a little bit. And then I'm going to add even some more gilding flakes. Now again, I did put down some of the diluted glue stick, and the reason why I like doing this with the glue stick is because when you use wet mediums it kind of goes everywhere, where the glue stick you can control where you put it, and then the gilding flake goes on and it's going to dry and you can move on. It's a lot less of a mess. And also then when you use wet glues, if it goes out from behind the gilding flake and goes on top, then it ruins the metallic sheen of the gilding flake, which is the whole point. So it also prevents that from happening when you use the glue stick. So some of the gilding flake is behind the paint, and now I'm just adding some on top, and this I'm doing very lightly. Just a little bit, just a tiny pieces of gilding flake, and then I'm rubbing away some of it so that it looks worn and aged. I'm also going to put a little bit of lapis paint, again, Dina Wakley Media. And I'm not putting any white with this, I'm just doing tiny little bricks of this color because it goes nicely with the playing cards, as you can see there on the right. So I'm just going to put this behind as the back layer so it helps your eye to draw towards the main focal point, which is going to be the playing cards. And now I'm using a little bit of the light blue Finnabar texture paste that comes from the Northern Lights set. And I'm adding some water to it to water it down and help it to move. And by tipping my page, this helps not only the paste to move in a more natural way, but it's less of my control, so then I feel like it has more of an organic look to it. And the sand in the paste doesn't really want to move, so I'm just taking my finger and gently mixing it with the water to water down that consistency so that it does want to travel and move on my page in a more natural way. And after I've given that time to dry, now I'm going to begin gluing down these playing cards. Now I'm just gluing those down with Distress Collage medium, and I'm squeezing that on the back of the card, and then I'm just spreading it out with my finger. You could, of course, use some kind of brush or tool, but I just find it's faster to use my finger in times like this. And now I'm laying those over in the middle, overlapping slightly. And then I'm going to also take the Dilutions glue stick on the very edges lightly, and I will use that to put some gilding flakes onto the cards as well. And I like to repeat elements throughout my page so that it doesn't look like now these cards are just floating in the air and they're not part of the page. By repeating elements, it helps to make everything look cohesive and like it was supposed to go together. So I'm just lightly putting gilding flakes around the edges where I have, applied the glue stick. And after I have all of the gilding flakes down, then I'm going to just use my finger to gently, in a circular motion, wear away the excess gilding flake that isn't sticking to any glue. And also by using a circular motion, you're not only making sure to smooth out the gilding flake, but like I say, it does wear away the excess in a gentle fashion so you're not tearing it or damaging the gilding flake in any way. So all of that had a minute to dry. I stamped out some butterflies from the Finnabar Don't Forget to Fly stamp set. And I did that in 2 different sizes, a large one and 3 small, and I stamped them on some mixed media cardstock and then cut them out off camera. And now I'm going to just use the Dilutions glue stick to place them on my page. And the large one I'm putting in the center as that's part of the focal point, and then the 3 littler ones I'm just sporadically distributing on my page. With the placement of that last butterfly, this page is done. I'd love to see what you're creating using these products, so don't forget to post on social media using hashtag #MixedMediaInspired. And also, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Have a great day.